This presentation is on portrayals of crime, race, and aggression in reality-based police shows. This content analysis was conducted by Mary Beth Oliver of University of Wisconsin-Madison. This presentation was created by Brianna Dill, Alexis Goldsby, and Sadara Manuel.
Mary Beth Oliver, with the help of a team of 5 coders, wanted to investigate the common portrayals of crime, race, and aggression on reality-based police shows. A previous content analysis showed that violent crime was overrepresented as well as the percentage of crimes that were solved. The analysis also found that white characters were more likely to be playing the role of a cop, while black and Hispanic characters were constantly the criminal. These minority criminals were also much more likely to receive physical harm when unarmed than the occasional white criminal. Oliver included that a number of researchers believe that the perceptions given by television are manifesting a mean and dangerous outlook towards the world, encouraging racism and beautifying the perceptions of police officers. The purpose of this study is to explore the portrayals that are trending or constant in this type of reality-based television. It is believed that the principles that are constantly displayed on television are very relative to the viewer's demeanor and values. This propose 3 patterns in crime portrayals. For one, media portrayals severely overrepresented the prevalence of violent crimes and underrepresented the prevalence of property crime. Another pattern associated with this is that media portrayals display a high number of crime resulting in police victory or success. This is heavily unproportionate to the actual amount of successful resolutions in police work. The last pattern in media portrayal is depictions of race and ethnicity. In news reports, there is a tendency to portray criminal suspects as minorities. In contrast, though, reality-based media shows have a tendency to show the bad guy as a white person. The purpose of Oliver's research study is to investigate whether or not these patterns are present in the crime and news television programs. She intends to reestablish the fact that the portrayals in the media are negatively skewed against minorities. Oliver different ways, and also whether or not the program character was playing the role of the police or the role of the perpetrator. She also coded the outcome of each criminal situation, whether this be an arrest, suicide, or murder, or even an escape. The statistical significance graphs from this project were as expected. The violent crime was still overrepresented, whites were cops, and minorities were still criminals.
Previous research on the relationship between racism in the media states media portrayals overrepresent the occurrence of violent crimes. In a study conducted by Shirley and Ashkins, murder represented 10% of reported news crimes in New Orleans, but only 13% of those crimes were reported to police. Also, other studies stated that action and adventure shows portrayed murder and assault crimes at a rate of 8.6 times an hour. The frequencies of these crimes portrayed in media are drastically inconsistent with real-world statistics. Previous research also explores how the triumph of justice influences the fluctuation of inaccurate depictions of violent crime. Primetime entertainment programs reported 88% of violent crimes as solved, not taking into account that the majority of these successes are often through violent means or at the expense of civil liberties. For example, a significant amount of violent crimes reported were resolved of a suspect. These invalid perpetuations of violent crime have affected viewers and specific individuals psychologically and disproportionately. Several content analysis of fictional crime reports state news reports portray minorities as criminal suspects more frequently. These reports were often accompanied by degrading images of these individuals, dedicating 41% of the overall program time to stories involving violent crimes. This cultivates the notion of a mean and dangerous world and intensifies symbolic racism to dampen support for civil liberties. Also, it enhances the positive perceptions of police. This study differs from previous research by exploring the portrayals in these genres that potentially influence viewer attitudes and beliefs. In this content analysis, 5 shows were recorded: America's Most Wanted, Cops, Top Cops, FBI The Untold Stories, and American Detective. 76 programs and 57.5 hours were analyzed. Also, 696 characters were coded. Characters in the program were either coded as police officers or criminal suspects. Police officers consisting of law enforcement officials directly involved physically or verbally with the suspects. Oliver also utilized 4 sets of analysis. The first being analysis of crimes in relation to the FBI Crime Index. Crimes are categorized into two types, violent crimes and property crimes. The second analysis explored the outcomes for criminal suspects. These outcomes were then compared to FBI statistics. The third set of analysis was racial and ethnic representation. Racial representations of characters were then compared with government statistics. The final set of analysis involved an examination of aggressive behaviors.
On the crime show are also somewhat unrealistic. The shows examined portray a high frequency of successful resolutions on the part of the police. In the article, it is highlighted that a large number of crimes, according to the FBI Crime Index, were cleared, meaning that the suspect was arrested, killed, or ended up committing suicide, which is somewhat different from what was portrayed in the shows examined in the article. The race of the police officers and perpetrators also played a role. Police officers portrayed in the show, 83.3% were white, 9% were black, and 2.6% were Hispanic. Of the perpetrators portrayed on the show, 43.3% were white, 29.9% were black, and 15.8% were Hispanic. On the shows, there was a disproportionate representation of white police officers to black police officers, despite the Department of Labor statistics not illustrating these same findings. The examination of the police shows in the study revealed 4 types of aggressive behavior: verbal aggression, threat of physical aggression, unarmed physical aggression, and armed physical aggression. A larger percentage of criminal suspects received at least one type of physical aggression rather than police officers receiving this same type of aggression. The study's hypothesis was supported in that the statistics portrayed in the show examined were mostly different from the actual statistics of the FBI Crime Index, essentially supporting that the shows examined were not entirely accurate in their portrayal of crime in the United States. This study, like many others, yielded substantial findings, but it is not without its faults. The study only examined 5 programs with 72 episodes, or a total of 57.5 hours of programming for the study. So if the sample size had been larger and more hours had been examined, the results may have been a little bit different in one way or another. And the coding of the study was done by 5 undergraduate students, 2 females and 3 males, all of which Caucasian except for 1 Asian American. Although the reliability of the coding scheme was assessed, it is still possible that the coding could have differed if different people from different education levels or different racial backgrounds did the coding for the study.
This presentation is on portrayals of crime, race, and aggression in reality-based police shows. This content analysis was conducted by Mary Beth Oliver of University of Wisconsin-Madison.